I'm not happy, Jen. The on-air sign's not on. Does that mean we're not on air?
We are on air.
But we're not, it's not on.
But we are.
You know what? It's all a mindset. It's a social construct.
Alright, cool, welcome back.
We had a kind of stuff around last week. Oh yeah, you go on.
It was,
So my eye's coming out.
that's okay. We'll talk about what he just said in a minute. But for now, last week was super hot. Brendon decided to delete the whole 45-minute podcast because it was too hot. So now we're here a whole week later. And yeah, welcome back.
Last week was hot.
Yeah, because it was so hot, he had to delete it, which makes no sense to me because it was 45 minutes of us speaking and there was a lot of actual good topics on there.
There was, but it was like chop change, you know what I mean? Like
Because it was hot.
Cut.
Yeah, but every podcast isn't perfect. And you were actually the one that said that to me.
I was.
Yeah.
I was the one that said podcast should be raw clip footage. And I wanted it to be raw clip footage, but then a phone died, microphone died,
Yeah, but it's
people walked in.
the power of editing. No one cares. No one cares
What
about
is
that
this
stuff. No one
podcast? You want it
knows.
to be like straight.
Yeah, but no one knows about that stuff.
What do you mean?
No one needs to know about that stuff. You make it known.
I did make it known just now
I know, but no one needs to know that stuff.
that the phone died and stuff.
In that 45 minutes,
It shows that we're unprepared.
But we talked about good topics, and we actually conversated very well.
Well, we can do it again.
No, you've ruined it. You've actually ruined it. I like that was probably my favourite podcast, and you deleted it.
Can I try to recreate it for you?
You speak. I'm not speaking for the next 5 minutes. Go.
Okay. Well, welcome
How was your
to
week this week, Brendon?
Welcome to the Brendon show, guys. Free's going MIA for the next 5 minutes. So I'm going to go rambling on and tell you about my last week. I have AirPods in. I should probably put them away. No wonder my hearing was feeling a bit different.
Bit off?
Yeah, it was. It was feeling a bit off, my hearing. Yeah, so my last week, not much happened. I had a bit of a quiet week. I'll say that I had an Aussie Legendary Classic week. That was the name of the podcast I was doing in my car. You know, as PTs.
Podcast or playlist?
Playlist.
There we go. Cool.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Just clarifying for the people.
So as a mobile PT, I'm always in the car all day long, right? Except for now because I'm in a podcast. But usually I'm driving to and from my clients. Now, in those periods of driving to and from my clients, I'm either listening to podcasts or I'm listening to music. It's either one or the other. I go full deep in either one. And I have this app called Audible where I listen to books. Now, besides the point, this week, music. So I went really hard in this playlist. It was called Aussie Legendary Classics playlist. I'll tag it in the video below. Should we tag it?
No.
It would be good for them to see what Aussie legendary music is. Anyways, so I was playing that all week long. I was going to my sessions and I felt like my clients need to see this playlist. It's amazing. And I was playing and they were like, man, you're such an old soul. Like, I feel like you were born in the wrong era. And I truly believe that I am a 90s guy, 90s kid, all right? Even though I was born in 99. But, you know, this is besides the point. Another thing, I applied to go back to uni. Yep. Nerd, I reckon. I always knew I was going to go back. Just didn't know when.
What prompted it?
Ageism.
Ageism. Ward. Please define what ageism is.
Okay, so
It's not like racism, but it's like ageism.
ageism.
So you're being ageist to yourself?
Yes.
Yeah? Please explain to the audience what ageism is. I'd love to know myself.
Okay, so you know everyone knows what racism means, right? It's where I'll explain it using myself as the as a test as the example.
Yep.
So when I was going through schooling, I used to get food thrown at me and my group of mates, and they used to yell at us saying, "You dumb wogs," and they used to throw food at us because we were seen as different to the Aussies, you
I
know?
think people know what racism is.
So that's racism.
Right, there we go.
That's
Cool.
me
Don't have to
explaining.
go into too much stuff. But that's your experience. So.
Okay, that's my experience with racism. Now, I experienced ageism in the last few weeks with my clients who are older, mind you, but they were very ageist to me. Okay, so they decided to say that I am not a 90s kid. And I was like, no, I really feel like I am because I was born in the 90s. I relate to a lot of 90s material. And they're like, no, Brendon, you're born in 1999. You are a 2000s kid. You're more related to the 2000s, not 90s. Even though your head thinks you're in the 90s, you're not. So I felt like that was very ageist. I was very hurt by that. Okay. Now, moving on, I was told I am reaching 25 this year. And I always said I was going to go back and study physiotherapy, right? However, I don't see myself studying a full-time degree like physio in my 30s when I've got hopefully a family building at that time, of that point of time. I guess planning ahead, I want to make sure that I finished all my full-time studies within my 20s. Because even if I start this year, which I am, I will still only be finishing when I'm around 27. So I would rather finish it sooner rather than later. So that's my reason for starting. But I am doing a Masters of Chiro, which is different to what I wanted to do, which was physio. The reason I've gone down the path of applying towards chiropractic science was I walked into the gym. This was one of the Anytime Fitnesses. And there was a chiro sitting there. She had a table out and she had her flyers, obviously, for her business. And she was actually doing movement screens. So she had me standing, she did a postural assessment. And within that 5-minute chat we had, she was able to discover that I had a shoulder and a back injury. And then that prompted me, because I was shocked by that, because I always had this thought that chiros were just people that crack your spine. They just crack your back and that's it. See you later. Come back next week for another crack. That was my thought process. After I saw her, that was shifted because I went to go see her for another consult. In that consult, she gave me a full rehab plan from start to finish. And during that rehab plan, I was learning mobility, flexibility, and strength, and all these new movements I've never seen before. And she was only 23, 24, around the same age as me. I was shocked. And I kept on asking her more and more questions and realised how educated she was. And I realised, you know what? Chiro is not what I thought it was. Hence why I've gone down this path. And as I said before, Ree, I would say I never take the easy road in life.
Why is that?
I never take the easy road. I like taking the hard roads. And I know that chiro is seen as poor compared to physios. Everyone, whenever they get injured, they think physio. I feel like I'm going to go into the world and prove the world wrong, that chiros are great.
I support that. I reckon it's good. And now that it comes to the overall debate of whether...
Are you talking again?
Oh, yeah, I'm back.
That's fine. I was getting bored talking to myself.
I was going to chime in, but I thought, let's see how long you can do it for. Well, you did 5 minutes, so good.
I
Good
did
on
do
you.
5 minutes, yeah.
I was quiet for 5
You
minutes.
did say you were going to be quiet for 5 minutes.
I did.
Should I go 5 minutes quiet?
No. It's okay. You can chime in whenever you want. But I think that comes down to the overall debate, and a lot of people that are younger that I do train, they're not really sure with whether to go down the uni route or take a gap year. So, like I've got a few clients. One of them's just finished. One of them's
finished school.
Yeah, one of them's just finished school. One of them's sort of a year out of school, and they always ask me like, what do you reckon? Like, should I go down the uni path? I'm not too sure what to do. So, what's like your point of view on finishing school, going to uni, or do you reckon, like, what's your overall judgment on university?
Load of crap, if I'm being honest. I've done 4 years.
Help these people, guide them. What do you think they should do? What do you think, if someone was to come to you and be like, Brendon, I'm confused. Like, what I want to do is chiropractic, but I don't want to do uni. So what would you suggest to that person?
So they want to go into the rehab world? but they don't want to study at uni.
Let's give you an example like this. Someone comes to you and says, I really enjoy what I'm doing at the moment. I've just had a big gap year. Look, a lot of people have come to me and said, look, I don't know whether to do a gap year or go straight into uni. What do I do with my time? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What would you suggest to someone that comes to you and says, I don't know what to do. What do you recommend?
Oh, that is a tough one because I would never urge anyone to do uni.
Did you
The only
always
reason I went to uni was because I wanted to be a physio. That was the whole reason I went to uni. And then, obviously, I didn't end up getting to physio. Along the road, I realised I fell in love with PT. Started being a PT, did sports science. Then now I'm going back to do chiro. And I couldn't do that because I did sports science.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is I knew when enrolling into uni at the start that I wanted to follow something like I could only get into that field if I went to uni.
Did you have like an overall, say, because like a lot of people would say, oh, I know something of what I want to do, but I'm not too sure if it'll get me there. Do you recommend them to go down a course that they sort of are interested in and then sort of work out which avenue they want to go? Or do you recommend the gap year? Like, this is just your point of view. It doesn't have to be 100% what these people
Yeah, this is just what I would suggest. I feel like there's no point doing a full degree in something because it's a full like long-term thing. Like it's full 3 years of your life they're taking out to follow something. You have to make sure you actually like what that is. Because then you're going to finish that. If you don't actually want to follow through with that course, you've just accumulated all this debt for no reason, right? So, like, I know a lot of people that go to uni just because they're told they have to go to uni. They usually go and do a business course. This is just what I've known because I've been to uni. I've seen, they're like, oh, I'll do a business course, whatever. They finish the business course, then they don't even do anything related to business. Yeah. They never start a business. They don't know what to do when they get out. You know, that they might do some consulting work and get bored. And then, never use their degree to their full potential. Or they do Bachelor of Arts, which is another course, which is like a group or collection of different things. What I would suggest is if you don't know 100% what you want, don't do uni.
Figure it out along like hands-on experience, I think.
Yeah.
That's
like
probably the best way to view it.
Your thing before about how you said someone is interested in chiropractic but doesn't want to go to uni, I would say go be a PT.
Yeah.
Because then they kind of work with people that might have had injuries in the past or, you know, might have an injury now, and you're kind of helping them recover by just building strength in that area. So as a PT, like, you kind of deal with injuries in a way, just in a different way. You're not rehabbing that person, you're more strengthening that person. So like, let's say we have a lot of office workers as PTs. We see a lot of people that work office jobs, always hunched over in the desk, right? So as a PT, all PTs, like most PTs I know, would give them like a lot of back strengthening stuff. Like, you know, pull aparts or rows or pull downs. And that usually ends up reducing pain. So if your pathways again to chiro, maybe try it PT, and then if you like that side of things, you'll end up doing it anyway.
It's tough because like when I left school, this is just an example. When I left school, I did uni 6 months and then I didn't look back. I left, I did labouring, and then I fell into PT. But I think the one thing that people need to understand is that it doesn't matter what time in your life you do it, you'll find it eventually. I think a lot of people get scared of the fact that they won't. They
have to do it at 21, or they have to do it at 20.
Like there's pressure on them.
They put time frames in it, and I just said that about myself as well. Like I wanted to finish before I'm 30, but that was just because I don't know. I feel like I just want to have that type of study done in my 20s.
Yeah, but everyone's different. Like if that's your goal, like 100% follow through with it, and you know.
But then I know my physio has gone back to uni and done like different masters and PhDs in his 30s. So like there's never like
there's never an end.
There's never an end, I feel.
Yeah, what I was saying before is that it doesn't matter what you want to do, regardless of what you want to do, there's always going to be a course or a degree or a diploma or a cert that you have to do in order to get those jobs. you may become a forklift driver, but you have to do a course in
Yes,
order
yeah,
to become a
100%.
forklift driver. You can't.
You don't necessarily have to go to uni, but there's always some type of study you have to do because
Yeah.
I feel like you always have to kind of grow your mind,
Yeah.
increase your knowledge. Because if you think that you know everything about a certain field or certain section, that's when you've lost.
Yeah. And there's
You have to continuously elevate, otherwise you're getting left behind.
there's ample room. There's ample education platforms in this world, like social media and Google and everything. You can ChatGPT can write you up a resume and you can send it off, and you can, but you're always going to be learning.
100%.
You're always going to be learning, regardless
100%.
of the field that you fall into. And you know, who knows? I don't know why that idea came up, but using ChatGPT to make you a resume.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
That's actually a good idea.
I just wrote mine up like 2 weeks ago. I should have thought about that one.
But then at the end of the day, like, you can throw yourself into the deep end, into any job, and learn as you go, and just say, oh, like, I made a mistake.
Oh, yeah, now business, like, none of us had done any business,
Yeah.
business degrees or business courses,
Yeah.
nothing like that. Our last experience of business was year 11 and 12 business.
Yeah, legit.
All three of us. So all three of us are running Dynamic Grey Cov. And would you call... No, the podcast isn't a business. We're just running a podcast, honestly.
Just a camera and a
This is
couple of
honestly,
boys.
we don't see this as a business. We're kind of just having fun talking in front of a camera. We do
Mm.
this for work already. But in terms of our business, Dynamic Grey Cov, we kind of... we just started that and made the mistakes along the way. I'm sure if one of us had done a business course, we probably would have solved a lot of issues faster, maybe.
100%.
But then
we wouldn't have learned.
we
the
wouldn't
hard
have
way.
learned. Yeah,
I think a lot of people have to come to the realization that mistakes are actually needed in this world.
100%.
You're actually you need to stuff up. You need to get things wrong. You need to learn the hard way. Otherwise,
Oh my God, I
you're
made so many
spoon-fed.
mistakes in my
Yeah.
lifetime. Far out.
otherwise you're spoon-fed throughout your whole life, and you don't actually learn anything
You don't want
because
that.
people give it to you.
You don't want to be spoon-fed.
No.
You're not a baby.
You're an adult, or you're leaving school and you're a bit confused. Like, there's a lot of kids these
It
days.
is confusing, but
Yeah,
It is
100%.
confusing.
I think a lot of people do leave with the intention of having an end goal that they think they can get to, but then they don't understand the complications or the choices or the hard decisions that they have to make prior to getting to that end goal. They see the end goal on social media or TikTok or Instagram, and they go, all right, I'm going to work towards that.
That's because social media is a highlights reel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They look at someone's social media profile, they're like, oh, you know, I want that life. I want that car. I want that house.
But they
I
don't,
want that girlfriend. I want that husband, whatever it might be. Like, it doesn't matter what gender you are, everyone's kind of looking at social media as, oh, well, I want what that person has. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're always comparing yourself to others, you're never going to be happy with yourself.
Comparison is the
It's a killer.
killer.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
I remember. Was it you that said that?
I think so, yeah. I read it in a book. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, you told me. I came to the office one day and Brendon goes, "Oh, I've got this quote. I heard it when I was reading."
Comparison is a thief of
Yeah.
joy.
It's actually a really, really true saying. Like, comparisons are the thief of joy, because you're actually not enjoying the process towards that goal, because you're comparing yourself to that person that got to that goal.
Yeah, you're just looking at the B. You're just like,
Yeah.
you don't care about the road that you take to get there. You're looking at the B, the end mark.
Yeah.
For me, like, I'm enjoying the process of getting to a handstand because I've broken my wrist.
Yeah.
I've really inflamed my shoulder to the point that I couldn't really raise it over my head. And that was through practice. And through those mistakes, I've realised, okay, wait a second. I'm putting all my body weight on my wrists. Maybe I should actually focus on, you know, stretching them out or warming them up before I actually just jump onto them, you know.
Yeah.
And I made the mistakes, learnt from them. But what I learnt was, if you have to enjoy step by step the whole process, because I'm gonna love being at the point where I can hold a 370 handstand, but I'm actually enjoying the part where I wasn't able to get to it, where I was only getting like 1 second holds, because that was fun.
The journey is the most enjoyable part, regardless of the roller coaster you're on, there's always going to be ups and downs.
Ups and downs, injuries, not injuries, whatever it is. So.
See, like, you know, in a couple of weeks, you might see us sitting on a couch. That's an upgrade after, what, 9
Couple
episodes?
weeks?
Yeah. I'm going to go pick one up in a couple of weeks.
Serious?
Yeah.
Where from?
Well, my phone's there. Marketplace.
Oh.
I'm just going to sit it here. And then the desk will be there.
That will be cool.
And I want to get some mic stands as well, but I don't think we really need mic stands. But anyway,
What's a mic stand?
Microphone stand. You know the thing that the microphones stand on? Yeah, those things.
Can we have 2 cameras as well?
We can try.
I need 3.
We can try.
Don't
Well, let's just start with one. We'll start with one.
Hmm.
We'll see what we can do. But for now, anyway, as I said, the journey is the most enjoyable part because
100%.
you learn along the way, like 10 episodes in, 9 episodes in, and it's like, okay, how can we improve it? So you get excited on like the next episode. There's been days where like I'm just like, no, Brendon, I'm not recording today. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. He gets all grumpy bum, and then we just go quiet towards each other. He goes to the gym, and then we come back here, and then we're all buddy friends again. Which happened like a couple of days ago.
It's because I have a what's it called?
A schedule.
I get used to my schedule, and when it doesn't run on my schedule, I'm like, why isn't it running on my schedule?
And I know, so I just go, yeah, no.
Because he's so laissez-faire.
I am laissez-faire, but to the point where it's everything will get done eventually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everything will get done.
And it
eventually.
did in the end, which is good.
Well, we're here.
But I was very scared that it wasn't going to get done, and I was like,
I'm like, Brendon, it's Wednesday. We've got 2 more days to do stuff. So I booked it in his schedule for us to record content on Friday, and you should have seen the sigh of relief on his face, like, okay, it's in my calendar now. I'm sweet. We can do this. And we made it a whole day earlier, got all the videos done, and then should have seen the relief on his face after that. He's like, oh my God, that means we can do the podcast the next day, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because my Friday, before we changed it to Thursday, my Friday was back to back from 5 a.m. until, 4?
Yeah.
But then it didn't take into account the fact the microphone died, and then it would have been...
Look, things happen for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's going to be my next tattoo. Everything happens for a reason. And I truly believe everything does happen for a reason, whether it's good or bad. And, you know, I put my foot down and said, no, we're not recording today. And you went and did your stuff. You got a gym session in. I came back. I finished all my calls. Everything was done. We were sorted. We sat down. We did what we needed to do. Next day, recorded. Bang. Everything happened. Everything just flowed better.
It did, to be fair.
I think...
I probably needed that gym session.
You did. 100%. And I'm glad you went because you came back and you were like, okay, deflated. Endorphins were up. Everything was sweet. Just went back to work as normal.
You're like, oh, yes, he's not angry anymore.
Took all the anger out on the weights. I'm like, good. Stay. You know what? Stay in the gym. Stay there.
Good
I'll
stuff.
drop you off. Anyway, I think learning to accept that, you know, myself, I'm very blasé and cruisy, and you're very structured. And I think that after all that's said and done, work side of things, we do end up coming together and sitting down like this and acknowledging the fact that everyone is different.
It's funny though, right? Because when it comes to work, I'm really structured. But then everything outside of work,
Can't do.
completely thrown out the window.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck about structure when
Yeah.
it comes out of work.
I
My
don't-
personal life is just,
Willy-nilly.
yeah,
But then as soon as it comes to like
work. I like to have it like to the point structured.
2 months.
As soon as someone fucks around with my times, I'm like, nah, you're cut.
Like 2 months ago, we sat down at like 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night here. And for 2 hours, we went and we just went ballistic on this calendar. And this calendar was our everything. And we were breathing
I
and
think I sent him
living.
50 emails in the
Oh
span of
my
those 2
God.
hours.
And we were just, I like structure too, but I can't be like, coming from, obviously, like you've worked as well, structure is great, but with what we've created for ourselves, I think we both need to have a bit of blasé about us in the fact that we know what we need to do for work. We know that at least 4 hours of our day is consumed with work, and the rest of it is up to us.
4 hours.
You can't do it. I just set it to G him up. And I got him. Yeah, 4 hours.
Oh.
Anyway, the moral of the story is have some sort of structure in your day to a
I need
point.
fucking water. So that was our water break.
So, anyway, what I was trying to say was the fact that structure is good, but having a balanced lifestyle is important. So, what we were talking about was finding balance. So, as we said before, Brendon likes his schedule. I'm very blasé, but having that balance of him being blasé and me having a schedule balances us out, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like when I have a schedule, I get stuff done, but I'm most of the time very blasé, but structured when it comes to the external stuff. Like when I know that I need to be there at a time, like work or meeting someone for coffee, I'm like always there 100% on time, which you are probably too. But when it comes to work, you're like this. Blinkers are on, and anything outside of it, if it throws you off your schedule, you go ballistic.
I kill it. Yeah.
You go ballistic.
It's like a cockroach. If there's a so I'm like blinkers on, and then any distractions is like a cockroach. You just swat it. It's gone.
No, I thought you were going to make the analogy of, cockroaches can, if there's an
They can fly.
if there's an atomic bomb,
Cockroaches survive.
cockroaches survive. I thought
I am the cockroach when it comes to work.
That was the analogy I was
No matter
going
what
for.
distractions are around me, I'm still working. So I can go into this thing called my mates like to call it deep work mode. And when I'm in this deep work mode, you can actually be talking directly at me, and I will not listen at all. I won't know anything that you just said. I'll just be able to completely zone out.
Since learning about deep work mode, what do you feel like has been the biggest change when it comes to work? Because I feel like learning about that, I think Jono said it, and he was the one that was reading a book on deep work, and he'd always come to us like at the end of the week or like every time he'd see us, and he'd always be like, deep work mode is like nothing else that I've ever experienced. And what deep work mode is you just dedicate time, you take away all distractions around you, you isolate yourself, and what could probably take you 4 hours with distractions can take you 2 hours. But deep work, I feel like recently for us has been beneficial in the fact that we can condense our time down just by switching everything off, focusing and honing in on what we need to do, and then everything outside of that,
100%.
go crazy, mate. Go crazy.
I feel like I've always been pretty good with it. I feel like if I remember the first moment that I started doing deep work, it would probably be around HSC, maybe even uni. Because when I was doing HSC, I wouldn't do any work at school. I was a bit of a dickhead, right? I'd go to school, and I would be the guy that would sit at the back of the class and throwing shit at the
The class clown.
Yeah, I was kind of a bit of a class clown, I guess. Whatever. Anyways, there was so I wouldn't actually do any work while I was at school, because I used to use school as fun. I'd be there with my friends, would kind of just kick a ball around at lunch and recess. That was the vibe. Now, when I came home though, the moment I came home, I'd have a bit of food, and I'd go deep work mode with my studies, because I wouldn't do anything at school. So I'd make sure that when I got home, I was just studying all night, and I'd study all night till dinner, have dinner, come back in my room, study a bit more, go to sleep. That was my routine. So my whole nightly routine was basically study. Obviously there would be afternoons where I'd go out with my mates, but then I'd still come home and study after that as well. That is kind of how I got into uni, because I was just studying like a freak, like a freaking nerd, all night long. But no one at my school actually realised that I was achieving these results, because it was kind of done in the shadows, because I was doing it in deep work mode at home. While they were all like at school, reading their books, answering their questions, I was kind of just not showing that much effort in class, but producing the results on the outside. And that's kind of what I would say I picked up that skill of being able to just focus, because there was no distractions when I was at home. When I was at school, there was my mates next to me. we would like having a laugh, pouring water on ourselves, throwing shit at the teachers, whatever it was. Whereas when I was at home, my mates weren't there. I was looking at my computer screen or with my books open, I was just writing notes. That's all I could do. When I went to uni, we had deadlines. Like this assignment was due at 11:59 tonight, and that would be my start time. So I was forced to go into deep work mode and finish it. Otherwise, I was fucked. I'd waste that subject. So I feel like I did gain it from study. I would say that would be my main thing. And then now I've just introduced it to work. Now work, I can just go into that mode for a few hours and pump out a lot of shit. So yeah,
there's a lot that you can take away from your early years of
life.
Childhood, infants, like obviously you don't remember that young, but like young adults, like going into the older generation that you eventually get to, there's a lot of things that you can take inspiration from that you did when you were younger, I feel. Like that you don't recognize in the moment, but when you get older you go, oh, I used to do something like that. Makes you like reflect. I think reflection is a very big thing moving forward in life. Looking back on what you were or who you were.
Oh yeah, like I was a cubby house king in preschool.
Cubby house king?
Yeah, so
what made you come up with that? Okay, reflect on that.
Okay,
Tell us about
so
your cubby house king experience.
Back in preschool, you know, Drew, if you're watching this, how are you? Me and this guy called Drew used to be like the cubby house guys. So when it was playtime, whatever, I don't know what you call it for preschool, they'd send us all outside to play outside, whatever. And me and him would just bolt to the cubby house, which is some form of like tree house thing.
Yep.
You have to get up there by ladders. So we'd get inside that cubby house, whatever, and the other kids would want to get up there, but we wouldn't let them in. We'd kick them off or push them down the slide, whatever it was. And I can't remember what happened, but that was just the stories that my mum has told me, that me and this kid used to like rule the cubby house apparently. So yeah,
that was
I guess my bullying years started early.
Yeah, when I was in
Said the sloth.
when I was in preschool, I always used to climb trees. I wasn't called any names, but I always used to climb trees, and I was always good with my hands. So I was always a very hands-on kid, and I can see.
You are still pretty good with your hands.
Achieving balance in the silly season is the next topic that we're going on. I choose to sit next to him. I choose to sit next to him. It's like when you go to school and you sit next to that one kid that you always want to sit next to, and the teacher's all right with it.
Yeah. Is that me?
Yeah.
So you choose to sit next to this?
Yep. So I know what's coming. I know that you are going to be that person. So I choose to sit here, and whatever comes out, I'll just be like, yep, that's him. That's it. That's all I can do. I can't do much.
You know what's funny? One of my good mates at school, his name was Peter Stanton. During English class, and this was like year 12 and everything, he was super smart, like very like studious. So he would be the type of guy that would study at school because he wants to make sure he was listening and everything. And because I was that dickhead that wasn't paying attention, I'd be grabbing my water bottles or picking up his water bottles and pouring it all over his notes and all over him. And the teacher was a pretty cool dude. He'd walk past and be like, Peter, you're working pretty hard today. You're working up a sweat. Because all the water.
That's a good teacher.
He was a cool teacher. He liked me. So, but yeah, what was the point of that story?
I have no idea. I don't know where you were going with it. I was just like, oh, okay, tell the story.
Oh yeah. So the point I was trying to make was he made that executive decision to sit next to me knowing shit like that was going to happen, because it wasn't like that was the only time it happened pretty frequently. And it wasn't just water bottles. Sometimes it was shoes, sometimes it was socks, sometimes I'd throw his book out the window. So but the next class he'd still sit next to me. Now I'm still trying to this day to figure out, if you are trying to focus and have the person that you sit next to is make it really hard for you to focus, what would be your reasoning for sitting next to him? Would it be the excitement of having something fun when you're supposed to be doing something boring?
Possibly. You go down a rabbit hole with that.
Yeah, because
Some
you
people
can
like the
never
excitement.
figure out where someone's head's at.
Yeah.
Why do you sit next to me knowing I'm going to be distracting?
I got no choice. It's just who I have to sit next to.
I thought you don't, because you can work from home.
I could, but then what? We're gonna do a half podcast.
Oh, I was actually thinking of a podcast idea.
What?
Like a brushing your teeth segment. This is when the social media is out or something, and we can do like, I can post a video in the morning brushing my teeth. Then when you wake up in the morning brushing your teeth, you'll see the video and you'll respond to it brushing your teeth. There's a cricket in you.
That's what we'll hear when that idea comes out. Crickets.
No, trust me, it's a good idea.
So I'll watch you brushing your teeth while I brush my teeth. Is that yeah? Why? What?
I don't know, it's just an idea.
But what's the purpose behind me watching you brush your teeth while I brush mine? I'm curious now, because now my brain's going a million miles an hour.
No, because we're going to have a shared Instagram page, right? So
Right.
you're going to be able to access it from your phone.
Right.
I'm going to be able to access it from my phone. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll post a video. I'll be brushing my teeth. I'll be like, hey, Ray, how's it going this morning? Something like that.
Yep.
And then you're going to open your phone and you're going to see that video come up. Hey, Ray, how's the morning going? Whatever.
Yep.
Then you'll be like, fuck, we've got to respond to this now,
Right.
don't I? And then you're going to have to respond on the same story.
Okay. 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 So, what's the purpose behind it?
It's like another version of podcasting.
Oh.
Remote podcasting.
Why don't we just
We can do it
why
while
don't we just go
travelling.
live?
I never thought of that. I've never done an Instagram live before. I feel like maybe that's something we should do. We're going live, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god. Oh.
Should we?
Brendon came up with this great idea, guys. You won't believe it. Tune in next week to see the story of the century.
Should we actually do an Instagram live?
Yeah, eventually. Eventually. Maybe in a couple of weeks. Maybe when we post our first ep.
Yes.
Maybe when we post our first episode, then we can kind of go down that route.
Done.
But you know what? Sometimes I sit here and I struggle to actually talk to the podcast. Like we have stuff in front of us that we listen to, or
We have a
look.
script.
Yeah, we have like dot points and stuff that we go off.
What do I have to say now?
Discuss the importance of setting realistic goals and adapting them over time.
Who is Brendon De Silva? Oh, that's me. Hey everyone.
But I feel, I don't know, there's some times where I'm like, camera's off and we'll just be chatting in the car on the way to the beach or on the way to coffee.
We live in Sydney, by the way. He said beach. No, a lot of people don't have that luxury to just drive to the beach.
Anyway, we live in Sydney, so driving to the beach is a luxury of ours.
Because what if there's a Melbourne listener watching?
There's beaches in Melbourne.
No, there isn't.
No?
Do you know how far they are? Right, let me just
Yeah, before you dig yourself a hole.
Beaches near Melbourne CBD. Let's have a look. Oh shit.
Yeah,
these
they're not
beaches-
too far.
Oh, they look like shit though.
Oh, but
Sorry guys. Oh wow. Melbourne's right on the coast.
yeah,
Oh whoops.
they're right on the coast.
All of our cities are mad, eh?
Yeah,
Far out. Okay, cool.
you could swim to Tasmania.
Oh. Wow.
Please don't do that.
But that's not a beach though. I see, I knew it. They don't have a beach.
That is a
It's
beach.
a big bay.
No, it's still it's exactly like Brighton.
No.
There's a head.
That's
There's
a
the
beach.
heads.
That's Melbourne there.
Yeah, and there's the heads.
Okay.
It's just an enclosed beach. See? Beach. There's sand and water.
Shelley Beach. Where's Shelley Beach?
But there's sand and water. Does that not classify it to be a beach?
No, it doesn't.
What do you classify as a beach? Because I'm curious to hear what your classification of a beach is. Because the beach you go to has rocks.
Okay, so to me, a beach is where it's a body of water in front of you, and if you swim in it, you can get to another country.
You can't do that in Sydney. What
Yes, you
other
can.
country?
You can swim to...
Melbourne's closer to another state than Sydney is.
Yeah, but from Salmon Hall, I can swim to New Zealand.
No, you can't. It's probably shorter from Melbourne to Tasmania. It's actually shorter. It's actually shorter from Melbourne to get to New Zealand.
Is it?
Probably. Look where Sydney is, and look where Melbourne is, and look where New Zealand is. It's probably exactly the same.
It's quite the same. I'm digging myself into more of a hole here. I just know that we have the best beaches in the world. So if we're being honest, doesn't matter what Melbourne says. Sydney's beaches put Australia on the map. How about that?
So does Perth's. So does Brisbane's.
No, but everyone knows Australia for Sydney. That's why people know Australia.
Yeah, but people are getting over Sydney.
But the Sydney people are getting over Sydney.
There's more people now.
But people around the world know Australia for Sydney. When I went to Portugal,
100%.
they were like, "Oh, you live in Sydney?" I was like, "Yeah, man."
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, you must be rich."
Yeah, but now people are talking about Perth, Brisbane.
Yes, but that's Australians. That's Aussies.
No, I know some people that are overseas that talk about Perth.
Do you?
Yeah.
It is closer to get to be fair, from Europe and stuff like that.
Mm.
But Sydney's the best.
Alright.
Okay, fine. That's a biased opinion. I do with you. I'm a creature of comfort, guys. I'm 2 hours away from my happy place, Jarvis Bay. I'm also just 30 minutes away from the best beach in the world, Cronulla Beach. And I'm only an hour flight to Gold Coast. So
I reckon we get Dan to draw up a beach.
he hasn't drawn a beach on here.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. No, you can just.
He can draw a beach here, like waves.
Or even in that little pocket. Like
You know what? I have a new goal of 2024. Learning to surf.
Okay.
But my biggest fear is the ocean. So try and put those two things together.
It's a bit of a hard one.
It is a bit of a hard one. So my this 2024, I'm gonna be studying. We're blowing up the business. We're going interstate. We're
not blowing up the business. We're hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood and everything else, expanding to Queensland.
Okay, yes.
Not blowing up.
I like to exaggerate things. Okay, guys.
I'll bring it back. He'll bring it forward. So just expect that in the rest of the
Going
podcast.
to study. Learn to surf. What was the last one? Triathlon.
Yeah.
And to my first triathlon and handstands. So I do have quite a few goals. Now, what would you, as a PT, as a coach, if someone came to you with a big list of goals? Because we do commonly get people like me with stupid number of goals. How would you guide them to basically achieving them in that year? Like, let's say I'm your client. What would you say to me? Would you tell me to get stuffed or?
I'd tell you to write down your goals first. Write them down. Whatever, the biggest achievement that you want, write it down. Okay, cool. What can you do today to work yourself towards that goal? What can you do in 2 months? What can you do in 6? What can you do in 12? All right. Well, now that you've done it for 12 months, just do the same thing, but challenge yourself a little bit more for a year. Okay, now you've done it for 2 years. All right, what did you do in those 2 years that got you to that 2-year mark?
So we're looking at this from 2 years, 3 years.
Well, it's kind of like a...
Yeah, well, my goal is to be able to just learn to surf.
Okay.
And my goal is to break the fear of the ocean, do a triathlon, which is an open ocean swim.
All right.
That type
So
of
the
stuff.
reason I did those big jumps was to promote you to speak about it in more detail, because I didn't get any detail about what you wanted from that
True.
goal.
I didn't explain my goal. There we go.
Correct.
So, coach.
So now that you've told me that in a bit more detail, you want to learn to surf because of XYZ, cool. Now, what do you think is the first step to getting out to the ocean?
Getting a coach.
Okay. What if
Oh wait, you don't need a coach. You can just surf.
you can trial
I've
and error?
skateboarded.
Yeah.
I'm Aussie.
Do you think it's that easy?
Well, I'm Aussie.
Yep.
Aussie surf,
So now you're being racist, yeah. Cool.
and I can skateboard.
Okay, cool. So, because you qualify in that bracket of Aussies, does
Born
that-
and raised in Congo, guys.
so now that you've categorized yourself as having
Full-blown.
some capabilities and some skills of being a surfer, the coach is the first thing that you'll need. What's the second thing you'll
Can you
need?
coach me?
I don't surf, but I can coach you to get to a coach if you want. So that's what I'm doing. So if you were to now, okay, the coach is the first thing. What's the second thing? Your determination, your discipline and determination. That's the second thing.
To do it.
To actually want to do it. Because you can just say you want to surf, like you've been saying for the past year, but
Not actually follow through.
not
and do
actually
it.
follow through with it. So there's the first two. And the third thing is buying a surfboard.
Oh shit! I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that's probably the most important part. Otherwise, you're just floating out in the ocean like this.
I can body surf.
Yeah, you can. There you go. All right, let's bring it back to the basics. There you go. So you already know that there's another form of surfing that doesn't involve a board. Body surfing.
And I've done it.
You have done it to a certain degree, but would you say you're a professional at it yet?
Yes.
Yes, you're a professional body surfer. Right. So you can do backflips and front flips through the waves and end
Yeah.
up on the shoreline and do
Yes.
a backflip as you enter the
Yes.
shoreline. Okay, cool. He's never done that in his life, just to let you know. But he's a professional body surfer. So now
I
you're
am.
going to the next level. So after you've become a professional body surfer, just for everyone out there watching, once you become a professional body surfer, like Brendon here. So if you need any tips, hit him up.
Yeah.
You then buy
Hit
a
me
board.
up on my Instagram, Brendon the Silver PT.
There we go. Cool. Cool. So now that you've bought the surfboard, what's the next step? The coach. Cool. Now, are you getting a coach that is just going to throw you right out in the water?
Yeah.
Or are you getting... Okay. Or, let me finish before you answer yes.
Okay. Yes.
Are you getting a coach that wants to throw you right in the deep end straight away? Or are you wanting a coach... This is for life as well. Are you wanting a coach to throw you right in the deep end? Just for you and your personality, right in the deep end, or baby steps?
Right in the deep end.
Yep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, an example of this would be, like, we're on a cliff edge, and he gives me the surfboard that says, jump in the water.
Okay.
Like, you know that movie?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Summer?
Yep.
Surviving Summer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. So now that you're out there on the board, what's going on?
I'd be freaking out because it's my biggest fear.
Okay. Cool. So is that you conquering your fear?
I don't know.
By just throwing yourself in the water and not knowing what to do?
Well, I did it in Croatia quite a few times. So it's a
You did?
really weird fear. It's a really weird
That's
fear.
paddleboarding. That's not surfing. That's paddleboarding on calm waters. You're talking about this guy throwing you in the deep end with big crashing waves and you knowing how to survive and how to get up and how to...
Well, I can definitely swim.
That's fine. That's fine. That's one of the things in the triathlon training that you did that you said you wanted to improve on the most. So now I'm just debunking. Now I'm getting more nitty gritty out of you.
No. Here's the thing. Look, I can swim. I'm Aussie. I can swim. Professionally, no. In terms of endurance swimming, fat chance.
Yep.
But in terms of surviving in the ocean,
You can survive.
put me anywhere.
Cool.
I'm alright.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's how you get into surfing. You just answered every question opposite to what I would have wanted an answer to. So thank you for making it so much more difficult. But anyway, determination and concentration and discipline is the first. The coach and the board. If you put it into a life perspective of what you need to get to where you want to, which is your goal, think about as
Stepping stones.
stepping stones. So those three things are very, very basic to hit your goal, but they're enough to sort of make you work towards it.
Because it's like step by step. Once I get the surfboard, then I'm going to be like more inclined to get the coach. Once I get the coach, I'm going to be more inclined to actually
go
jump in the water.
Correct.
Yeah.
So then it's all about those building blocks, building you those steps up to
That
your
goal.
goal of surfing. And then you'll be able to stand up for more than 5 seconds after 6 weeks of determination and discipline, and you're standing there and you're like, oh my God, I just did 5 seconds. You come home, tell everyone, I did 5 seconds. Those endorphins that are released when you achieve something is second to none.
Can I call myself a full blown once I get on the surfboard?
Once I see the surfboard in your hands, I'll say, okay, I'll give you a bet of in 2 months, I want to see you at least stand for 5 seconds. And if you can do that, then I'll just keep setting you goals.
I have to do it soon then, because it's summer.
True. And it's the hottest summer as well.
It is. When does it end? When does summer end?
Feb. Beginning of Feb.
Beginning of Feb?
November, December, January is summer. Or is it December, January, Feb is summer?
I think it's that.
Yeah, okay.
So it ends in March.
End of March. Or beginning of March.
Oh, shit. I've got to get on the boards.
As I was saying before, actually, what I was saying before was that, sometimes we sit here and we don't know what to talk about and X, Y, Z. I feel like when we, get the couch, get the stands, get the cameras, the lights are already here.
Those are our stepping stones.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
our
yeah.
goal of becoming full-blown podcasters.
Correct.
Because our goal with this podcast is to be podcasters.
Or just to educate people with our experiences and get people to... That's what a podcast is.
Follow our journey.
Yeah,
why
not?
If you like us, follow our journey as we go, as we rise as human beings.
Look, we're just going to be as natural as possible. We're going to be as open and honest as possible with our opinions, and we may go back and forth. I think the next step, we've hit like 9-10 episodes. I think the next step is to bring someone on. Once we have the couch, the stand, bring someone on. Like I reckon we've got heaps of friends
that would be into it
just to talk about their experiences.
Even my clients, some of our clients would be into it.
100%.
Some of our trainers, some of our nutritionists would be into it.
There'd be a lot of people in our circle of friends and acquaintances and family that I feel
I would actually love to have on the podcast to hear their thoughts on things,
Bro, like all we do is just ask them questions that we bounce off with them.
That we know that they would be able to talk about for a while.
100%.
And yeah, that's it.
I think we do that. I think not next week, but maybe the week after, we'd do something like that.
We'll wait till we have the setup, I reckon.
All right, I'll have a goal to have the setup before the end of January, which is
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Whoa.
Well, let's say mid-Feb.
Stepping stones, guys.
A month from now.
So you get the couch. I'll get the surfboard. Done.
And to end it there, that is the podcast.
Wow.
Thank you for tuning in.
And I've got a nice scene in 15 minutes.
Beautiful. Enjoy. We're out. Toodles.